Good day everyone, I am Reynold A. Cabato and together with me my partner Ma'am Maria Sheena D. Castillo. Today we will be presenting our research studies entitled Analysis of Alternative Work Arrangement on the Role Performance of the Women Educator. For the abstract of our study, the COVID-19 pandemic has created the largest disruptions of education systems in human history, affecting nearly 1.6 billion learners in more than 200 countries. Closures of schools, institutions, and other learning spaces have impacted more than 94% of the world's students' populations. This has brought far-reaching changes in all aspects of our lives. Social distancing and restrictive movement policies have significantly disturbed traditional educational practices. Because of this, the alternative work arrangements such as the inclusions of work from home or WFH has become a policy priority for most governments to cope with the pandemic challenges. So in doing so, work from home policies must be made keeping in mind the practicality for both employers and employees, as there will be some consequences for the two groups in one way or another. The reopening of schools after relaxations of restriction is another challenge, with many new standard operating procedures put in place. So due to the outbreak of coronavirus and the continued rise of the COVID-19 cases in the city, the Department of Education ensures the safety of both students and teachers by prohibiting face-to-face classes, and in order to continue to give education, the Department of Education initiates distance learning modality, which requires the work from home scheme of its employees. Thus, the researchers come up with the study entitled Analysis of Alternative Work Arrangement on the Role Performance of the Women Educator. So this study aims to determine the level of roles performance encountered among women educators on an alternative work arrangement in terms of gender role, teaching role performance, student support mechanism, and administrative role. Research shows that the teachers of the division of Zamboanga City display a high level of performance-related skills, abilities, initiatives, and productivity, exceeding requirements in many of the area of work performance. But however, in terms of the level of computer literacy in accomplishing their administrative roles, teachers find some difficulties. For the research questions, for number one, what is the profile of the respondents in terms of, we have the age, the gender, civil status, position, and also the computer literacy. For number two, what is the level of performance encountered among women educators on an alternative work arrangement in terms of gender role, teaching role performance, student support mechanism, and the administrative role. Next, we have number three, is there a significant difference on the role performance of the women educator on the alternative work arrangement when the respondents are grouped based on their profile? And we have number four, what program can be developed to address the difficulties on the role performance of the women educator on an alternative work arrangement? For the methodology of our research, the methodologies and procedures to be followed in the study's execution are covered in this chapter. So this includes the research design, study participants, research instruments, and the data statistical treatment. For the research design, this study used a qualitative research design to collect more comprehensive information from the participants in the study. A Google form was used. It entails acquiring data that characterizes occurrences, then organizing, tabulating, depicting, and describing the information gathered. It frequently makes use of an online form to assist the reader in comprehending the data distribution. In general, the study entailed gathering data from respondents and evaluating it using tables and graphs. So the researcher looked into the level of role performance encountered among women educators on an alternative working arrangement. Next, we have the population and sampling. The researchers conducted a survey in Zamboanga National High School West and Mercedes National High School with 53 female participants. For the instrument, the research is qualitative and it is based on a descriptive survey. The survey was divided into two parts. The first part was on the profile of the respondents, which includes the name, age, genders, years in service, teaching position, and computer literacy level. Part 2 is a 17-statement survey on the level of role performance encountered among women educators on an alternative work arrangement in terms of we have gender role, teaching role performance, student support mechanism, and administrative role. Next, we have the data gathering procedure. So before completing the poll via Messenger, the researchers obtained permission from the school principal. So a copy of the approved letter with the research purpose was given to each participant. Online survey forms were utilized to collect input after the agreement was reached. The survey forms were sent to respondents with appropriate time to complete them. The poll is conducted entirely online with no face-to-face interaction. So next is the data analysis process. So for all descriptive results, the data was examined using frequency distribution, percentage, pi, and bar graph. For the result, it will be discussed by my partner, Ma'am Castillo. Thank you po.
I will be the one to discuss our research results. For question 1, what is the demographic profile of the respondents? In Table 1, 53 teachers responded to the survey. These responses are divided into several groups based on their age, gender, civil status, teaching position, and levels of computer literacy. Age consisted of 23 or 43.40% respondents belong to 20 to 36 years old and 30 or 56.60% respondents belong to 37 and older. On the gender, only female teachers were interviewed, which consisted of 53 or 100%. On the civil status, 10 or 18.87% respondents are single and 43 or 81.13% of the respondents are married. On the teaching position, 47 or 88.68% belongs to teacher 1 to teacher 3 and 6 or 11.32% belongs to master teacher to head teacher. On the computer literacy level, 16 or 30.19% are beginner and 37 or 69.81% are average or advanced. For question 2, what is the level of role performance encountered among women educators on an alternative working arrangement in terms of? So we have here the table 2 shows the results on the level of role performance encountered among women educators on an alternative working arrangement. We have the categories: gender role, teaching role performance, student support mechanism, and administrative role. So the student support mechanism with a mean of 36.0 6, interpreting to a result which most agree, shows that the respondents experience difficulties on keeping students working equilibrium and working professionally to time restrictions and availability of resources which highly demands in assisting students in modular distance learning. Teaching role performance received a mean of 2.46, interpreting to a result which most of disagree means that some of the teacher's role are highly demanded but can eventually cope with the gender roles, receive low responses with a mean of 2.38. It implies that the gender roles at home was not difficult when active involvement was needed to assist in a new modality. Administrative role at 2.73 mean, interpreting to a result of which most respondents find difficulties in engaging administrative role in their teaching role performances. For Table 2.1, when grouped according to age, respondents with ages 20 to 36 years old has a mean of 2.28, which mean high remarks on performance difficulties. Gender role with ages 37 and older has low remarks or a mean of 2.98 or low remarks and a mean of 3.05, and 2.93 with ages 20 to 36 and 37 and older or moderate for teaching role difficulties. Respondents with ages 20 to 36 and 37 and older have a mean of 2.85 and 2.79 respectively, or low remarks on student support mechanisms. In terms of administrative role with ages 20 to 36 and 37 and older, a mean of 2.57 and 5.52 shows low remarks, which means respondents find difficulties on that particular category. For Table 2.2, the table shows that all respondents are women and are grouped according to gender role, teaching role performance, student support mechanism, and administrative role. A mean of 2.38 and 2.46 of gender role and teaching role performance respectively is obtained, in which the respondents mostly disagree. On the other hand, the level of performance in terms of student support mechanism and administrative role results to a mean of 3.15 and 2.73 respectively, in which the respondents mostly agree. For Table 2.3, when grouped according to civil status, all single women resulted to a mean of 2.25 and all married women resulted to a mean of 2.41 in the category of gender role, teaching role, student support mechanism, and administrative role, which means it got low remarks or most respondents disagree. For Table 2.4, when grouped according to teaching position, T1 to T3 to master to head teacher positions, respondent with a low remarks on gender role, which interprets to disagree with a mean of 2.45 and 1.83 respectively. Teaching role divides into a mean of 2.51 and 2.4, interpreting to result of T1 to T3 agrees and master head to head teacher disagrees respectively. A mean of 3.13 and 3.27 resulted to T1 to T3 and master to head teacher positions respectively in terms of student support mechanism. While in the category of administrative role, T1 to T3 agrees with a mean of 2.77 and master to head teacher disagree resulted to a mean of 2.46. For Table 2.5, when grouped according to the computer literacy level, the gender role and teaching role performances of the beginner and advanced average respondents disagree with a mean of 2.36 and 2.39 and 2.50 and 2.44 respectively. A mean of 3.16 and 3.14 resulted to the category of student support mechanism and a mean of 2.58 and 2.80 to administrative roles, which means beginners disagrees and the average or advanced agrees. For question 3, is there a significant difference on the role performance of the women educator on an alternative work arrangement when the respondents are grouped based on their profile? In Table 3, the result revealed no significant difference in the responses of students in gender role, teaching role, student support, and admin role when they are grouped according to their level of computer literacy. It is clear these categories have no mean in terms of age, gender, civil status, and teaching positions. Responses that significantly differed were in the level of computer literacy, when the respondents were grouped according to gender role, teaching role, student support mechanism, and administrative role. These differences mean that when it comes to the administrative roles, the tasks given to the teachers are factors affecting the level of the role performance encountered among women educators on an alternative work arrangement. Data also suggested no difference in the responses for gender role, teaching role, student support mechanism, and administrative role when grouped accordingly to the respondents' age, gender, civil status, and teaching position. So for the discussion, what is the profile of the respondents? So there are 5 categories given for the demographics: the age, gender, civil status, teaching position, and computer literacy. Large proportion of the respondents belongs to the ages from 37 and older. Teachers who are women compose 100% of the study and 81.13% are married. Most of the respondents belong to the Teacher 1 to Teacher 3 teaching position, which compose of 88.68%. On the other hand, most of the teachers are computer literate, about 69.81%. The research highlighted most of the respondents as middle-aged women who are married with teaching position under Teacher 1 to Teacher 3 and computer literate. What is the level of role performance encountered among women educators on an alternative work arrangement? Results suggest that the gender role performance, teaching role performance, student support mechanism, and administrative role are simulated teacher roles that are highly difficulties experienced among women educators. However, one of the impediments which obstruct several women to reach their high point professionally is rigid organization policies, especially the lack of flexibility. Is there a significant difference on the role performance of the women educator on an alternative work arrangement when the respondents are grouped based on their profile? Administrative related work tasks indicate added struggles of women educators in terms of the level of computer literacy. What program can be developed to address the difficulties on the role performance of the women educator on an alternative work arrangement? The study has presented the different undertakings on the teachers' difficulties that can consider developing practical and appropriate programs to address this experience and equip them to become more effective and efficient teachers in the new modality. More training and seminar events should conduct. For the conclusion, based on the findings of the study, it is concluded that the teachers of Division of Zamboanga City displays a high level of performance-related skills, abilities, initiatives, and productivity, exceeding requirements in many of the area of work performance. However, in terms of the level of computer literacy in accomplishing their administrative roles, teachers find difficulties. The teachers of Zamboanga City disagree with some of their gender roles and teaching roles, which implies that the teachers are not satisfied with their teaching role performance. Furthermore, if the teachers contented with their job, they would develop and maintain high-level performance. For the recommendation, based on the conclusion of the study, the researchers suggest the following. Lessen the administrative tasks given to teachers. Teachers must have advanced training, seminars, workshops, and hire more administrative aides to assist administrative jobs. That's all for our research study. Thank you and God bless.